I'm just hearing that Mr. Webster Griffin Tarpley, he's author of the book Surviving the Cataclysm about the current world economic depressions. He's joining us now live also from Washington. Let's have his viewpoint on this. Mr. Tarpley, thanks so much for joining us. Now, one question would be how President Obama, his party, the Republican Party, are dealing with these protests, how they're handling these protests. Now, President Obama, he did acknowledge that protesters are frustrated with the financial system of America. He, however, said that the bank bailouts were necessary. Now, what do you think about the policy that Obama is adopting toward the protests? Would you agree with this analysis that there is some hypocrisy, maybe the Democratic movement trying to actually give support to the protests in an attempt to rather gain their support ahead of elections?
Well, I think you have to understand that the tactic of Obama and the Democratic Party is to try to keep these protests as vague, generic, impotent, leaderless, diffuse as possible, with the idea that the general ferment could be then incorporated into the Obama re-election campaign. Down there where Colin is at Freedom Plaza, there are Democratic Party operatives in disguise, undercover, roaming around all the time, trying to dumb people down. I would say after a month, the principal problems are all clear. The main millstone, the main albatross around the neck of these agitations is precisely this crazy method of the General Assembly, the facilitators, the workshops, the consensus, and speech codes, in effect. It's not free speech. They have extreme political correctness, and they don't have majority rule. They have minority rule. It's like the U.S. Senate, only worse. They've duplicated some of the worst features of the existing system. And at the top of it are these creepy facilitators who are acting as saboteurs. They prevent discussion of program, and they don't allow organic mass revolutionary leaders to emerge. Imagine if in Wall Street, for example, we had a couple of people emerging as organic mass leaders. They could be on their way to running for mayor or for Congress or for Senate, or they could go up to New Hampshire before November 1st, get on the ballot, and challenge Obama in the Democratic primary, give people an alternative. We don't have that. We have these foundation-funded facilitators who, again, creepy individuals whose job is mainly to sabotage. I would say that the sentiment is brewing for a kind of a coup d'etat inside, maybe not the New York one, although maybe the New York one, but some other one, where people would say, we've had it with the General Assembly. We want to go back to the traditional method here, which is majority rules and free speech. And then we want to vote a series of demands, because the other problem is there's no leader and there's no program. What is it that these demonstrations stand for? We're hearing about all kinds of tactical discussions, minute little things. Where do we go tomorrow? Who do we disrupt? In the name of what? You need a program. That would be a student loan amnesty. Take away the $1 trillion that's crushing the younger generation, interfering with family formation, and really a demographic crisis down the road. Pay for that with a 1% Wall Street sales tax on all turnover of these financiers. You want to hit Wall Street where it hurts? Make them pay. Tax them. They don't pay anything right now. Stop all cuts in the social safety net. Ron Paul just came out with an austerity plan. He wants to cut $1 trillion out of the social safety net. That means Americans will die. Is that what we want? Well, then we have to fight it. A couple of other issues would be to nationalize the Federal Reserve. If you don't like the Federal Reserve, nationalize it. Get that credit-creating power back into the hands of the people. And then use it to issue $1 trillion blocks of 0% federal credit with 50 to 100-year maturities to rebuild this rubble field, this post-industrial moonscape of the United States. We need the whole road system. We need the rails. We need the electricity grids, the water systems, the public buildings. The goal ought to be 30 million new productive jobs at union wages. But so far, out of the entire Wall Street process, we haven't heard a peep. There's no demands have emerged, and I think this is now the critical issue. If that's not solved, then this risks being led into the desert by Democratic Party and Foundation operatives.
Okay, Gary Anthony Ramsey in New York, let's have your view on this, because you've been on the streets, because you're hearing what these protesters have been saying. Webster just telling us there that there should be specific goals lined out, there should be specific programs outlined, blueprints for these protests. They should be calling for tax on Wall Street transactions. He's saying they should be calling for a stop to cuts on social spending.